Right, so as you're aware, this broke and caused a lot of smoke on one of my previous videos, so I will now be attempting to dismantle this and fit this. My only concern is that the shaft may not be long enough, so I will let you know how I get on. I'm going to film some of it I will not, because I just want to kind of get it done. It looks like it's going to be quite problematic getting this off, because it's just I don't even know how it's held on, but I'm going to go out to the vise and in the garage and give it a whack with a hammer. So be right back. Right, so I've removed this little gear. It's obviously important to keep that, so don't throw it away. And I have removed this piece. This was relatively easy. I just put it in a vise, didn't tighten it up, just held it over a vise. And then I just tapped the pin on the top of there, and it came out fairly easy, to be honest. So that's come out of there. So the next job is to remove this magnet from here, which should hopefully just come out like that. Easy peasy. Right, so let's test fit our motor, see how far the shaft comes through. So the shaft does not come through very far at all. However, we've got this little collar in the middle, which is kind of getting in the way of it, and I think it looks like it's loose enough to come out. So I'll try and take that out, because I think that'll enable the motor to sit a bit flusher. Right, so that little collar in the middle just pushes out. It looks like it was probably glued in before, because we don't really need it, because the motor has its own bearings on it, so it doesn't need that support. So that's a bit better. See the shaft there? So I've just put the original back through, and okay, so the original did protrude considerably more. So let me get that straight. That's that one. And that's that one. But it did also stick out further than this gear, further than it needed to, I guess. So it might be alright. The issue I've got is that this gear is too loose on here, so I need to pack this out with something, and I think I'm going to choose heat shrink tubing. So let's have a look at that. Right, so I've put a little bit of heat shrink tubing over that, and it feels alright, and this just kind of sits over it, like not too bad. So a bit of super glue and that might be alright. we will see. Alright, so before I start gluing anything inside this, I'm going to give it a good clean with some alcohol. And just some cotton buds. You can see from the cotton bud it's quite manky. So we're going to glue it now. So I'm just using some ordinary super glue here. This is really cheap stuff. This is from like a bargain shop or whatever it's called. Bargain Land. Let's call it Bargain Land. This was like 40p or something. So it's probably like a one-time use thing. It'll probably seal up as soon as I've used it. Okay, that's probably too much. I might clean up a little bit of that. Yeah, the cotton bud. Way too much super glue on there. Right. So we just got to make sure we get this in the centre, which is probably easier said than done. Oh, doesn't like that. Right, so the issue I've got is that hole there is slightly smaller than the flange. See the slightly raised bit on there? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill this hole out here so this flange sits nicely through the hole. Right, so I've now drilled the hole out a little bit bigger. Looks a bit messy. I've sort of dremeled around the edge just to get the burrs off. I did the other side as well, a bit unnecessary, but so now I'll dry fit that. The little flange fits perfectly in the middle, which helps make it nice and central, so it should be nice and easy to mount. Right, another little go over with some alcohol just to evaporate any of the water that's there. I ran this under the tap to just get any of the little bits of swarf off. It's a handy tip as well. If you've got an airbrush with no paint in it, you can use it as a little airline. Or you could get an air gun attachment for your airbrush, but it still works. Let's dry things out. Right. I think we are ready to try again. Right. So try and use a little bit less super glue this time. I will be hot gluing this as well. Alright, so I'm going to leave the wires facing up, I think. I should have planned this because I could have used one of these little grooves here to run the wires through, but I don't think it's going to matter. I'll have them facing up. Just right, straight in through the hole. And then I'm just going to hold this for a while and let it set. In hindsight, I would have had the glue gun ready now. I would have put a couple of blobs on, which would have helped it. But I don't, so I'll be waiting here. Be back in a bit. Okay, so now that this is set a little bit, I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue from the glue gun just around the edges, just to keep it in place, or help keep it in place a little bit better. There we go. So a couple of little blobs of hot glue just to help keep it in place. Not really sure how hot this is going to get, this little motor, but hopefully it won't get hot enough to melt the glue. I guess if you really wanted to, you could put some more hot glue on these pieces here. I'm not going to bother, but it'll be in an accessible place so that if you found in the future you did have to, you'll be able to get to this and put it on. So, right. Right. So now we're going to fit the cog, the little gear, which, because I put the shrink tubing on, I think is going to sit okay. However, I need to make sure it lines up with the rest of the gears that are going to be on there, wherever they are. They are here. So this is all the pieces I removed from the previous motor. Just got to try and remember how it goes back together now. which I have no idea. Right, so we're thinking that gear sits there. One of these sits either side. Although you've done that wrong, haven't you? Silly sod. Right, they go on first. One there. And one there. Then these ones go on. Which all appears to line up okay. And then obviously the wheels will sit in line with that. Okay, so from looking at this, where I've got it positioned now is pretty much where we're going to want it. So I'll take these off. Don't want to get glue on them. Right, remove that. Now what I've got is a couple of bits of plastic. I've cut a little groove in, you probably can't see it. So I'm going to put one there and another one there, just to try and stop any glue from dropping down, but I don't think it's really necessary. Right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. I think I'm going to put it, if I hold these with my little plier things, now I'm just going to put a little blob of glue into the centre of that. Just change the angle a little bit. I've got super glue all over my fingers now. Silly sod. Right, too much glue, too much glue, too much glue. Okay, that seems okay. I'll pull these bits of plastic out because I don't want them getting stuck. I've not put loads of glue on it. I'm going to put another little dab on top in a minute, but it looks okay. So now I'll just put another tiny little dab on top. And then we'll leave that alone to dry for a bit. Okay, so I've now refitted all the gears and put the motor back into its little chassis. So now just to reconnect the wires and try it out.